Hi, it's Mark Coopersmith, and let's get into this video, which is an introduction to customer discovery, this whole concept of customer discovery, customer research. Let's get started. This is one of my favorite quotes, and I wanted to share it with you because in a lot of cases, when people think about entrepreneurs and inventors, they think that there's this big aha moment, like, aha, eureka, I found it. But instead, Isaac Asimov, who's a novelist and a science fiction writer and a researcher, wrote this many years ago, and I think it still is just as true today. He said, "The most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not, 'Eureka, I found it,' but rather, 'That's funny.'" And I think that that's very much the case. In a personal instance, for example, when I was launching e-commerce for Sony on a global basis, I went out to find a payment platform. And I assumed that there would be lots of expensive payment platforms available. And after interviewing a dozen different firms, I said to myself, that's funny. These different solutions don't meet my needs. And I ended up bringing a team together, created my own. Later, I spun that out of Sony, took that through funding and growth, now owned by Google. So it's the insight when you have expertise in a sector where you go, that's funny. That's really interesting. So I want you to think about where you have knowledge and wisdom and you go, that's not what I thought it would be. Now, we spent some time on where good ideas come from. I'll hit just a couple of very quickly. And of course, you have the slides for this as well if you want to go back in detail. One of the key things we touched about is change delivers opportunities for entrepreneurship and innovation, right? Whenever there's a major change, everything from COVID and climate change to new technologies, to changes in law, to the differences or changes in costs or prices of raw inputs for products and more. So there's a lot of drivers of new opportunities. We entrepreneurs love that. And a very smart man, Albert Einstein, one of the smartest early scientists, theoretical physicists, Nobel Prize winners ever said, "In the middle of every difficulty lies an opportunity." And Albert Einstein definitely created many new things and created lots of opportunities as well. So I want to channel you to channel your inner Albert Einstein and say, what's frustrating you? What problems do you want to solve? Remember, the founder of Netflix, right? He hated those late fees. That was a frustration, and he created a multi-billion-dollar company around that frustration. Where do we start? I've shared this with you before. My approach, an area where you're passionate and aligns with your values, a for-profit venture, a social venture. An area where you are good, where you have new insights, so that expertise. And then third, where you see a big and growing market opportunity ahead of you. I sometimes call this scratch your own itch, which I mean is if you see this opportunity, if you have a problem like I did with the e-commerce solution at Sony, build a solution that meets your needs because there are probably other people like you facing that same problem. In Sony, it turned out there were. In fact, other large companies, big global companies came to me and said, "Where did you get that e-commerce solution, that payment back end?" I said, "I built it." And they asked me, "Well, can you license it to me?" And Sony's answer was no. But as the entrepreneur, I spun that technology out and I knew that I already had customers that wanted that solution. They had already come to me and said, "I will pay you money for that." Just like the baby grabbing the ice cream cone the very first time they tasted ice cream, right? Now, a couple of other examples. In your readings this week, we have the story of PillPack, which Amazon acquired for more than $1 billion. And it was based on a 32-year-old frustrated pharmacist who would gather pills together and put them in packs, especially for older customers who needed to have their pills organized. Take these 5 pills at 9 in the morning. Take these 6 pills at lunchtime. Take these pills in the evening. And he leveraged his knowledge of pharmacology and pharmacy, what a pharmacist does, and robotics to create an automated solution that Amazon went and paid $1 billion for. So that's a big problem. And he was both passionate about it and he had expertise and a big market opportunity. There's a win right there, right? And of course, sometimes you just need really a good cup of coffee. Let me share with you a little bit of an example of what this looks like. I'm going to share a video. I'm going to stop it 1 or 2 times along the way as well. This is something called Cafe X.
Arm and coffee. What do we got behind you?
Yeah, so this is our robotic cafe. This is our first machine in the U.S. That we're launching soon. Basically, the idea came from spending a lot of time waiting in line at cafes.
So there's your founder, Henry Hu, in the Bay Area, who said, I got frustrated standing in line waiting for a good cup of coffee, and I figured if I could build a robot and I wouldn't have staffing problems, all of that, then I could get my coffee faster. And that was his big insight to say, maybe there's a market for this. Let's see what else Henry has to say.
Allows is basically really good coffee, fresh coffee. It only takes
Great coffee, good tasting,
How did you guys go ahead and
always
actually
hot.
assemble this?
So this one was built in, we rented like a garage in San Mateo. We were trying to figure out how do you build something like this. It happened that one of the co-founders, his family does metal fabrication in China. So they actually helped us fabricate a lot of the sheet metal for the first few machines. And then we assembled that basically by hand.
So the founder is there. They raised a little bit of money. They assembled the very first product by hand, as he said, right? So he had an idea. He pulled together a team. They built their own prototype, and they've taken it out to market. Now, here I am with another member of the founding team and a few colleagues of mine having Cafe X coffee in San Francisco. Now, when this video was done and when these photos were taken, it was before the COVID pandemic happened. What do you think about the prospects for an automated robotic coffee kiosk now? Exactly. Really good, right? You don't have to worry about staffing problems. You don't have to worry about health issues or germs because everything is done by machines. So there's a lot of benefits to that. How will they do? We'll see. We'll talk a little bit more about them later on when we talk about venture financing. So my question for you is, who, as you come up with these ideas, is your potential customer? Henry was a potential customer himself because he liked coffee and he didn't like waiting in line. But who is your potential customer and how do you find them even before you have a product to sell, right? He didn't have a product before he started talking to his customers. So this is the product, this is the process that we call customer discovery, by which we reach product market fit, by which we talk to customers, we understand who the most likely customers are, and we get them to love our products, right? We design products they will love, just like that baby loved the ice cream cone in that short video. And who are your most likely customers? Well, a viable customer, by viable I mean a customer who is a good customer, recognizes that they have a problem or need, is actively seeking a solution, is willing to pay in money or time or other value, right? A search engine might be free, but ads are served up. There might be a subscription. There may be other elements you can monetize or generate profits from, and that they are able to pay. So let's go back to my Sony example. I had created a solution for myself. I had other large companies come to me saying, I like your solution. I have a budget to buy it. Where do I get it? And I couldn't sell it to them. But later, once I spun it out of Sony, I could. So I had already proven that the market existed for that. And then once we discover who those people are through a series of conversations we'll talk about in the next video, we build what's called a persona, right? It's a representation of what that person, what that buyer, what that customer looks like. And we talk about things like their demographics, right? Their age, their occupation, maybe how much money they make. We talk about their motivations, right? Are they trying to solve a problem or to reduce a pain? Goals, frustrations, and more. We're going to provide you with a template so that you can start to document what this persona, what this perfect customer looks like. So as you go out and start talking to customers, keep in mind, right, who this person, this man, this woman is that you think is your ideal customer. And we also begin to understand the customer life cycle, how they buy or use your solution, right? We start all the way on the left-hand side as we look at it, was right here with awareness. How do they become aware that it exists? And then do they become knowledgeable about it? You know, for example, I heard about this great coffee kiosk that uses a robot. I would like to try it next time I am looking for coffee if it's available. So then we move to the consideration. Would you consider trying out a Cafe X coffee? You bet. And then you get them to try it, to buy it for the very first time. And it's that left-hand side of the customer life cycle that's really important for us as entrepreneurs, to make them aware of the product, try it, and buy it. Well, now we'll worry about the right-hand side later because we want happy customers that tell their friends as well. Okay, that's it for this video. Part 2 of this video series, we'll go into deeper detail about the types of problems that our customers are solving and how we go about undertaking customer discovery. See you back here in just a minute.